Hey everybody, Steve Gadsby here. I was the owner of a company called Canada Furnace. I sold it back in 2017. Now we just work with contracting companies to help them drive leads for their business. But I thought I would go over the main ways that we used to drive leads to my business. So we did maybe 1,200 leads a year, 1,300 leads a year. Going to mine, we converted them at about 65% from the leads that would come in. They would become sold installations of whatever we did, boilers and furnaces and tankless and a whole bunch of other stuff. But there is stuff that works, and there's a whole lot of stuff that doesn't work to drive leads. So probably what almost every company does is this first one. So Google AdWords. So, Google AdWords are, exactly what you think. It's, if you type in, say, HVAC install Dallas, the Google AdWords are the ones that pop up here. They're like your little text ads, right? It goes over, a basic little discussion based on the keyword that you're typing in here. So they're great, right? Because they're great in a sense because it's exactly what you want to target. So let's say you're going after HVAC installs or furnace installs or whatever else, they will load up a relevant ad from your company. But the problem with them is you can pay up to, and I've seen this in some cities like Houston in the summer. If you want to do air conditioner Houston in the middle of the summer, you could pay $200 for one click to that link, right? So great, it sends you to a perfect page. You paid $200 for it, and every second one is probably spam. It's some robot coming through there, basically trying to show you, direct you to whatever. So the problem with Google AdWords is that it can get prohibitively expensive. Let's say you have a fantastic landing page. I don't want to click on it because it'll cost them money, but let's say you click on this and it's a great page and it makes them pick up the phone call. So let's say 1 in 2 people that click on the thing, they call you, then 1 in 2 of those people turn into a lead, and then 1 in 2 of those people actually turn into a sold job. Well, that's kind of a problem, right? Because you probably just spent like $800 or something to get 1 sold job. So that's the problem with lead generation from Google. Google's amazing, right? Google is exactly what you want to do to drive leads, exactly, but it's extremely expensive. So the next one, this was kind of up and coming, and we had started to do this back in 2017 when I sold my HVAC business. Was go to social media. So because Google had got so expensive, even back then, we'd started to push to social media. So social media is probably, I'd say for the next 5 years, is probably going to be your key driver of driving leads. So here's like an example of it, right? This is what you can do if you got everything set up right. So this is a company down in California. They are, if you hear something, that's my dog snoring in the background. So if you hear the dog snoring, if you have, this is a roofing company. Below that, he's also running an AC system still. So this one, let's say over the course of a year, they brought in 181 leads at like, $8 a lead. So this is the type of things that you can do on social media. The problem with social media leads, the tricky part about it is you need to be very specific in how you run it. So only certain types of artwork work in certain areas. What works in Tennessee doesn't work in California. The prices need to be relevant to your market. Even sometimes color schemes work in some areas and don't work in other areas. And then once you get everything set up just right, that ad will only run for a certain period of time, and then it'll burn out. And then you got to put up different sorts of artwork. So it's a much higher maintenance, and it's much harder to do compared to Google. But if you're pulling in leads for $7, and let's say you're closing 1 in 5, then you spent $35 to get an installation. We can circle back to this more. It's something that we do at my company now at Results Grow, www.resultsgrow.com. It works fantastic. It's just a lot more maintenance and upkeep compared to Google. But if you can get leads so much cheaper, it's worth it. So Other things that you can do, just straight up organic search. So going back to the search results for Dallas, right? So search results are good, but the problem is they used to be a lot more relevant. So search results is basically just SEO. So it's a classic search engine optimization. But the challenge with them is you need to beat a lot of these big players. So this is Dallas, right? There's probably, I'm guessing, 8,000 HVAC related companies in Dallas. They are all more relevant than Yelp or House or Home Advisor. These are just referral companies, but all of these companies are beating them on the organic results. So they're Baker Brothers, huge company. They're probably, I don't know, I've heard they have a couple hundred staff or whatever else, and they're like number one, but look where you had to get through to get to that. A customer had to come to the internet, they had to get past Google Guaranteed, get past the ads, get past the map search, get past all of these companies, and then you found the number one company ranking. So organic is great. And I did we got a ton of business from organic, but at that time there was less stuff stacked on top of it. So Google Guaranteed, that's another Google product. It's great. It's probably a little bit better for service. This is a whole entire thing that you need to apply for. You need to get into it. And then it's another bidding system, and it's something that you just should be in. The biggest problem with this, you won't get a lot of leads from it. You won't get a lot of flow from it until you've been on it for a long time, is I found is one negative to it, but it's definitely one that you want. But yeah, organic is a tough one. So we've done this before, or I did this with my company. So canvassing, door-to-door canvassing, it arguably, in terms of the total impressions, by that I mean the total number of doors that you knock on and people that you talk to compared to how many leads will generate, is actually extremely efficient, right? Like you'll get a ton of let's say you knock on every 10 people you talk to, you'll probably get somebody interested, right? But it's a very steep uphill curve to do it, but it does work. So I've gone out myself and knocked on doors, door to door, say, hey, even something you can do is just you do one installation in a neighborhood for Mrs. Smith, then you go knock on the 10 doors around and go, hey, we just put in a furnace for Mrs. Smith. All the furnaces are older in this area. Are you interested in getting a quote? No. And then one person says, yeah, sure, come on in next week. That's amazing ROI. It costs you nothing except for your time. And you got one lead out of it. But, try it yourself. Try to motivate yourself consistently to go there and canvas and door knock. It's an uphill battle. I try to delegate it off. I try to hire out people to do the job for you. They can't do it as well as you can. They need to have a little bit of, I try to send employees that it didn't work. So it didn't work consistently is the problem. It's really hard to scale, which doesn't mean it can't be done, but you got to be a phenomenal, a phenomenal motivator to keep people doing it consistently. So obviously, I would say the best, highest quality leads you're ever going to get on this entire list is going to be referrals. If you did a job for Mrs. Smith and then Mrs. Smith tells her daughter, oh, make sure you use these guys, that's a slam dunk, right? That's the highest closing percentage job that you're ever going to get. So referrals are great. The problem with referrals are they're, intermittent, right? You might get, if you do 20 installs a week, maybe you'll pull a referral out of it, maybe 2, right? Great. So there's 2 installations. So what are you going to do for the other 18 installations that you need that week? So home shows have always been great for us. Home shows, by that I mean, different towns have these, usually bigger cities. You set up at on the ground floor of a stadium, and they're in charge of bringing the people through the door. You set up your little booth. There's 2 ways to do it. So the incorrect way to do it is just go there passively, hand up business cards, chat with people. That won't get you much. You'll hand out 1,000 business cards and you might get 1 phone call and everybody forgot about you. What does work better for home shows is your goal is to actively close people into a booked, scheduled consult, because people come to home shows and they're very, they get chatty because they get talking to all the booths. So it's very easy to engage in conversations because they're kind of already walking around talking to people anyway. So they'll walk up and maybe have like a tankless water heater or some piece, or like a ductless equipment that is not as commonly known. People will be drawn to a little bit more. So then they look at the ductless and they say, oh yeah, no, we've got one bedroom that's always cooking and the air conditioner doesn't get to it. So you just go, okay, blah, blah, blah. You ask them a couple of questions, go, oh, is it super far? Sometimes you can upgrade ductwork. They're like, no, you can't. We tried doing that, blah, blah. So I go, you know what? And then this is a pretty common close. You just go, I'm in your area, or one of our guys in your area on Tuesday or Saturday next week. If you want, we can pop in, have a quick look at it. It's just free, and we can see if we can, we can have a look at it, give you a quote. And they'll go, oh, okay, sure. Right. So our best shows, we booked 75 plus scheduled sales calls from home shows. You're not going to have an amazing closing rate. You're probably going to have 30%, because you've pulled people in that weren't actively looking or in the market for something like that. So their interest level is lower in comparison to somebody that went online, knows they need an air conditioner, researched different companies, decided that they like your company specifically, gave you a call. That's a much higher intent compared to somebody that you pulled in from a home show. So you're probably going to close it at about half the rate. The next one is we basically banned all forms of non-digital marketing, because we found 90% of our lead flow is coming from digital. So Better Business Bureau, they were great in terms of, they had this one little book that came out every year. The benefit is, it's the one that we actually paid for. We didn't pay for Yellow Pages, didn't pay for any of that stuff, but it was the one that we actually paid for on an annual basis, and it helped. People would find us, they would consider us vetted, right? We're not just another person in the Yellow Pages. We're somebody that the BBB has stamped, adequate. For them, they can look us up. We had the A+ rating and all that kind of good stuff. That's the one piece of offline thing that actually worked for lead generation. Lead stacking, by that I just mean your technicians out in the field, and he says, hey, you need this thing is quite old. Have you considered getting a new one? Go, yeah, we've been thinking about it for years. Great. If you want, I'll get our company to come in next week and have a peek at it. So lead stacking is obviously quite high quality, probably not that far below referrals in terms of lead quality. But again, you're going to have a volume issue, right? Like, let's say you're doing 50 service calls in a week, and let's say you can get five appointments out of it. It's good. 5 would probably be ambitious, right? So telemarketing, unfortunately, it actually works. But the problem is, and this goes back. So the first, when I first started trying to build the business up, that's one of the very first things that I did. I got frustrated with newspaper ads and none of it was working for me. So I just picked up the phone and started telemarketing. It does actually work. You're not going to set up new installation leads. You're going to set up service call leads that you're then going to have to convert into it. If you're a one-man operation, it's not a bad setup to do the telemarketing route. You're going to get a bunch of leads from it, but it's telemarketing, and nowadays there's a ton of regulation around it, and there's do not call lists, and it's a very slow, tedious type of a thing. So email marketing previous customers was always, that didn't work. It's, people think it works, but we sent off thousands of emails and tested various things. My dog's on. Okay. Little snore break there. Email marketing I don't know. You try it yourself. We, out of thousands of emails that we sent off, I don't think we got a single lead from it. So it's always one that people think works. It doesn't work. Kind of a spin on that would be doing direct mail to very specific areas. We got some stuff out of that. Like, let's say you are in a townhouse complex and you know that there's a bunch of problem units in the complex that you guys have been to, you can do a very specific direct mailer that says, hey, this complex, we know that these are older problem areas. We're doing, quotes, blah, 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 on these dates, call us. You get a few out of it. It's not going to be a high volume. So the whole game is, what's the highest volume of least expensive leads that you can possibly drive? And, all of these things contribute, but some of them are going to contribute a heck of a lot more. So referral networks, it's just good to know a bunch of people, realtors, duct cleaners, home inspectors, all these people can contribute to your lead volume. You can throw them back little incentives and stuff like that. That probably helps kind of grease the wheels a little bit. But all these things help, for us and where my company, if you go to www.resultsgrow.com, where we really focus down on is what is kind of like your base layer of leads. You need a foundation of leads, right? So, and for me, the foundation needs to be the highest volume of least expensive leads that you can possibly get, right? Are they going to be as good as a referral? No. Are they going to be as good as somebody that spent 2 hours researching online all the companies close to them and watched all your videos? And it's not going to be as good as that. But if you can bring in leads, and I'll pull up this example again. If you could bring in leads, and this doesn't always happen, right? This is in, these people are in the LA area, Orange County area. If you can bring in leads even for $25, $30 a lead, that forms your base layer, right? You need people to be calling every day. You need people to be contacting, and this is like your base layer of leads. We do this for hundreds of companies all over the States. This is, you need kind of a consistent flow. Otherwise you can literally sit there and not do anything except for callbacks and non-money making stuff. So this is what we do for a ton of companies. Reach out to us. There's what we'll do on a Zoom call is we'll give you an overview of probably other companies in your area that we already do this for. We can show you ad stats. We can show you things that we do. We can show you the ads. We can show you how we do it. There's a whole bunch that goes into the back end on how it's done, how we do it. We even have a little video. If you want to try doing it yourself, we have kind of a slimmed down video of sort of how we do it. Maybe I'll post a link underneath. But I'll also post a link on or you can just go to resultsgrow.com, click to set an appointment, and we'll go from there. Thanks for chatting, and we'll chat with you again soon.